I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to our ongoing health and wellness series with the top naturopathic physician, I believe, not just in our country, but the world, Dr. Peter Glidden. This series is now over 3 years old, much to the chagrin of big pharma, big medicine, big insurance, big government, big medical centers. The medical industrial complex is what we want to, if you will, put a big umbrella around all those that I just mentioned. They don't like this because what Dr. Glidden and I do is he brings 30 plus years of clinical experience as a naturopathic physician, and I bring 30 plus years experience as an allopathic physician, in particular an orthopedic surgeon, an injury prevention specialist, and healthcare policy analyst, and we combine our efforts, which they don't want to happen. They want Pete and I to hate each other. They want us doing this, because if we're too busy then we can't point the finger at them that's causing all these problems. So this is why they hate this series, because ultimately it's a series of empowerment, empowering you with the acknowledgement that your body is an incredible machine, an incredible computer that has been created for you and for your health and wellness, not just on a short-term basis, not just on a medium-term basis, but a long-term basis. And all too often, the stuff that the syndicate creates, whether it's their GMO foods or their toxic environments, think about what's happening in Ohio, whether it's their toxic financial structures, right? They all adversely affect our health and provide stress to our health. And what we tell you is through the nutritional support, the appropriate nutritional support, and other avenues that you can take with harnessing the incredible power of your own God-given body, you can avoid the medical industrial complex. That's the title of today's presentation, How to Avoid the Medical Industrial Complex. And you might say, well, Jandy, you're a physician, Glidden, he's a physician, why are you guys... No. What we're talking about is avoiding big medicine, big pharma, big insurance, big government influence on medicine. Because let's face it, what the past 3 years have taught us is that, and rightfully so, it's very hard, if not impossible, to trust the current medical system as we have known it for generations. And we provide you an alternative so that you don't have to utilize the complex, the medical industrial complex. Now, there's certain things you're going to have to, with trauma, with certain emergency issues. On the other hand, the vast majority of issues can be handled through what you do and what your body does. And that's the brilliance of the message of Dr. Glidden that he's delivered over many years' time. For those of you not familiar with Dr. Glidden, he's a phenomenal researcher, phenomenal clinician, and phenomenal author. His books, Everybody is Sick and I Know Why, An Attempt to Cure with Holistic Medicine, should be the foundation of your medical, not just library, but your medical knowledge base. His books can be purchased at his website, drglidden, glidden.com, as well as on Amazon. It is my honor to welcome back our friend, Dr. Peter Glidden. Peter, welcome back.
David, the beat goes on. It's always a pleasure spending time with you. Thank you so much.
I want to run a little quote by you to begin with, and then we'll take it from there about how folks can avoid the medical industrial complex. Here's what was sent to me. Quote, there's all this talk about conspiracy theories, something I've been called for decades. Yeah, you've been called that as well. Okay, yeah. The real conspiracy theorists believe that the government cares about them, the media would never mislead or lie to them, and the pharmaceutical industry that makes billions off sickness wants to cure them. End quote. Says it all, doesn't it, Pete?
Unless we put medical freedom into the Constitution, the time will come when medicine will organize itself into a dictatorship, To restrict the art of healing to one class of men or women and deny equal privileges to others will constitute the Bastille of medical science. All such laws are un-American and despotic. That, loosely paraphrased from Dr. Benjamin Rush, one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. And that is exactly what's happened here, regretfully. Since 1912, in the United States, we have been under the jack-booted heel of a medical monopoly. The only thing that can treat a disease in the United States, believe it or not, is a drug. And the only people that have sway over all things medical are people with MDs after their last name. And conventional MD-directed medicine is fantastic for trauma care, surgery when it's necessary, the complications of childbirth, dentistry, military field medicine. And that's where all the advances in medicine in the last 100 years have been made, by the way, in new surgical equipment, new surgical techniques, new surgical drugs. It's amazing what you guys can do with surgery, no kidding. But for most of the conditions that most people go to the doctor for, most of the time, it's failed methodology. And, you're welcome to your own opinion, but not your own set of facts. Mm-hmm. Obesity is skyrocketing, even amongst kids. It's over 40% of the population now. Alzheimer's is skyrocketing. Autism is skyrocketing. Chronic disease is getting worse, more prevalent. Life expectancy is getting shorter. Leading cause of death, depending on how you tweak the numbers, conventional medical treatments. Mm-hmm. Leading cause of bankruptcy, conventional medical treatments. It's a crap show. And the only reason that it can exist is because of the monopoly, which has been in place for so long that most people aren't even aware that it's a monopoly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And everybody has been socialized. They did a magnificent job at it, right? Everybody's been socialized over the last 110 years to think that, well, if the medical doctors don't know how to fix it, nobody does. Mm-hmm. Because everybody but the MD is a back-of-the-bus quack with substandard, dangerous training. Let's be honest. In order to become a licensed naturopath in the U.S., 4 years pre-med, mm-hmm. 4 years naturopathic medical school, where, by the way, we have more hours in anatomy and physiology in diagnosis of disease than medical doctors get, 1,000 hours of clinical supervision. Then you got to pass national boards. Then you got to pass state boards. Then you got to graduate. Then you got to get a license. Then you got to do 25 hours of continuing education credit every year. Full-blown primary care. Oh, and by the way, the naturopathic medical schools are fully accredited by the United States Department of Education. And yet, even though myself and my colleagues have done all of that, we're only licensed and regulated in 22 states. And in 2 states, Florida and Tennessee, I believe, or maybe not Tennessee, I can't remember the other state. It's one of the states on the eastern seaboard. It's illegal. It's a felony to practice naturopathic medicine. Now, why is that? Well, it's because big pharma, big insurance, big medicine doesn't want any competition. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we are kicked to the back of the bus, quite frankly, off of the bus, not because our therapeutics are dangerous, but because our therapeutics work. Not because our therapeutics are unscientific, but because our therapeutics are, in fact, based on science and are, in fact, clinically verified. But we can't let that cat out of the bag because, heaven forbid, people have equal access to a type of medicine which attempts to cure the condition. Heaven forbid that. That's indirect opposition to the pharmaceutical method. It's indirect opposition because the pharmaceutical industry makes money when people are sick, right?
Billions, trillions over time.
And so, let's be honest. Outside of an armed insurrection or a meteor hitting Washington, D.C., it doesn't look like any time in the near future the medical industrial complex is going to go quietly into the night.
No.
Does not look like that is going to happen. So if you're in the listening audience and you're waiting for the government to come to the rescue,
forget it.
Or the people with the white hats to come to the rescue,
forget it.
It's not going to happen.
No.
There is, however, one thing that you can do, mm-hmm. right? You can vote with your pocketbook.
That's right. And your feet. Avoid the system.
100%. Well, how are you going to do that? I've got high blood pressure, Dr. Glidden. What am I going to do? I need my meds. I've got arthritis. I need my meds. I've got type 2 diabetes. I need my meds. Well, I'm sorry that you have those things, but let's think this through. You got those things while you were under the care of a conventional medical doctor, paying a small fortune every month in medical insurance premiums. While you were under the care of the medical industrial complex, you got sick, and then the treatments that were offered to you were not intended to even attempt to cure the condition. They were intended to manage the condition. And so the older that you get, the weaker that you get, the more addicted, for lack of a better word, dependent is a better word, on the pharmaceuticals you get. And you spend more and more money and get weaker and sicker. And then the last 5-7 years of your life are spent in a desperate attempt with heroic medicine to extend your life by another month and another week, another day. And it's nonsense. And look, my message after 34 years of clinical work as a licensed naturopathic doctor is quite simple. You cannot drug your way into health. You can't do it. Sometimes you need the drug. Drugs are like guns. It's not the gun, it's how it's used. Not the drug, it's how it's used. Regretfully, the way that conventional medical doctors are trained to use drugs is not good for you because they don't get to the root of the problem. They just sweep the symptoms under the rug, making you dependent on the pharmaceutical. So there are alternatives to this method, the pharmaceutical, the Machiavellian, monopolistic pharmaceutical method, which have been developed and are delivered by licensed and regulated doctors, just not medical doctors. But you don't know about them because the monopoly doesn't want you to know about them. So you need to educate yourself here. You know, if you're smart enough to pass the driver's license, you're smart enough to know what to do here. This isn't rocket science, and it's not that difficult. You just need a little bit of education. Well, okay, I've got high blood pressure. What do I do? Well, I tell you what to do, drglidden.com. And I tell you what supplements to take to attempt to get on the other side of it, and it's at operationfreedomhealth.com. We've got your back here. That's what we've been doing for the longest time here, is putting information together, not based on information that's provided by the vitamin companies, but which, by the way, every other alternative doctor in the world does just about. I don't do that. My information comes from my own clinical experience, the clinical experience of my colleagues who are actually doing this every day, helping people to recover their health without the use of drugs, without the use of surgery, every day. And, you know, if I seem tall to you, it's because I stand on the shoulders of giants. The people that came before me in my profession were unbelievably effective. If you knew 1% of what I know about the effectiveness of my historical colleagues, you would beat a path to your local naturopathic doctor's door. You would bang on the governor's door and say, look, we need naturopathic medicine licensed and regulated in this state yesterday. This is not the be-all, end-all, cure-all for all human ailments, but it's a very sophisticated, science-based, clinically verified, very effective, based on natural law treatment strategy. And so rather than wait for something miraculous to happen, empower yourself right now with education to figure out what you can do to attempt to rally your body's ability to fix itself. And I line that all up for you at my website, and Dave has the supplements for you all lined up at operationfreedomhealth.com. And that's how we're going to change the world.
So, Pete, folks say, look, I've lost faith in the medical system, and I want to avoid having to use the medical system for as long as possible. So what are some of the foundations that people can use to enhance their nutrition and their body's own built-in computer that's just waiting for the appropriate software, if you will, right, for health and wellness?
Yeah, it's a good analogy, right? Because our whole premise here is that the human body is inhabited by a divine intelligence, which is intelligent, which is running the show.
Mm-hmm.
That it is that divine intelligence, spiritual intelligence, which made your body grow itself all by itself from a single cell, which was an unbelievable feat of nature, by the way. And not only that, but right now, our bodies are managing hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of biochemical reactions every minute, all outside of our conscious control.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how the hell does that happen? Well, there's got to be some intelligence at play, and the naturopaths say, well, whatever it is that brings light to your eyes, whatever it is that brings light to your dreams, whatever it is that leaves the body at the moment of death, that's what's running the show. And because of the intelligence inherent in that situation, your body knows how to fix itself, your body wants to fix itself, your body is trying to fix itself, but it needs help. You got to eat food, you got to drink water, you got to put on warm clothes when you go outside into cold weather, right? There are things that you have to do in order to deal with the stress of life. Well, in order to optimize your body's built-in God-given ability to fix itself, you got to clean your diet up. And I outline all of that with the 12 Bad Foods, which is available for free, by the way, at operationfreedomhealth.com. Number one. Number two, you have to give your body the raw materials. You have to fill your body's nutritional tank up on a regular basis with the 90 essential nutrients that it needs, which are no longer present in our food. Mm-hmm. Some of them are there, but not all of them.
And not to the quantities or concentrations. We need them.
We need them. They're mandatory.
Right.
And in my opinion, which is a good opinion, all chronic disease, with an emphasis on all chronic disease, is directly related to nutrient deficiencies. So you need to give your body the stuff it needs to keep itself healthy. I mean, that's not rocket science. Your car needs oil. Your car needs air in the tires. Your car needs transmission fluid. If it doesn't have those things, something's going to go wrong with the car just because it ran out of these fluids. It's the same with the human body. So step number two is give your body the 90 essential nutrients, and those we have cobbled together very efficiently, by the way, in a remarkably effective group of supplements which are extremely easy for your body to absorb, which is a key factor here, called the Healthy Foundation Pack. It's a combination of 4 nutritional supplements, a multivitamin, multi-mineral powder with a bunch of other stuff in it, antioxidants and pre- and probiotics and other things that help your body to be strong. There's a liquid calcium and magnesium supplement. There's a liquid mineral supplement, and there's an essential fatty acid supplement. And the combination of these 4 gives your body everything it needs. And it will be when you take this stuff, it'll be the first time in your entire life your body's been nutrified. That's a game changer. I mean, it's ironic and sad and tragic. Most people's pets are more nutrified than they are.
And, Pete, I experienced this myself because I thought, I was eating fine and I was doing everything right. But I had terrible arthritic symptoms. And the allopathic buddies of mine said, oh, well, take this anti-inflammatory, take this anti-inflammatory. And it would help a little bit, but I was still, my activity level was going down. I was having more pain. And you kept telling me, you're not nutrified, Dave. No, Pete, come on now. I'm eating everything I'm supposed to eat, and I'm drinking everything I'm supposed to drink, and I'm staying away from all the bad stuff, and it's just... No, you need to. And finally I did. I finally went along with what you had suggested, and all of a sudden, within actually a week, I was already feeling better. But by a month, I was off all anti-inflammatories for my arthritis. I was doing things that I had not been doing for years and not having pain.
It's the best kept secret in the 21st century.
And by the way, that wasn't just short term, because that happened years ago, and my symptoms have not come back. And my activity level has not gone down.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm able to do more now and not have pain
Yeah.
than I did 30 years ago. And that's not BS.
Yeah. I mean, we see this all the time. And honest, Dave, it's the only reason that my profession is still alive
Yeah.
in this hostile political climate, because it works. I mean,
No, it does.
I was just talking to a guy this morning. He had a similar experience to you, had all these health issues, and he started the supplement program, started the dietary stuff, and it was a remarkable change. And so he and a buddy of his, who's a retired detective in Boston, by the way, this is a really good guy. He was a whistleblower decades ago in Boston about the corrupt cops on the job. It almost cost him his life, but that's the kind of integrity this guy has. They're bringing this information now about these supplements and this method to universities, to the athletic department at universities. They're working with the University of New Hampshire now, and the results that they're seeing with the athletes are unbelievable. Well, why? Well, because if you have two tomato plants, you've cloned them, so it's exactly the same plant, and you give this plant fertilizer, and you don't give it to this plant, which plant is going to grow bigger and stronger? The one with the fertilizer.
Right.
Well, it's the same with the human body. When you give the body the stuff it needs, you get remarkable results. And see, this is the problem. Because of the medical monopoly, this information has been suppressed.
Absolutely.
They don't teach this in university.
They don't.
Even though it's science-based, clinically verified, and got all this research to back it up, they don't teach it. So
because it's not big pharma's money bag, right?
That's right. And that's what the universities are now.
Right.
They're
fronts for big pharma. They're fronts for big pharma.
100%.
So just so to make everybody clear, the products are available on OperationFreedomHealth.com that Peter and I are talking about. The Foundation Pack, for example, and purchase of the products on OperationFreedomHealth.com does open you up to a groups we have associated with OperationFreedomHealth.com for discussion and education purposes, but also it benefits this platform so we can continue to do these videos. Now, Pete, so people say, I want to avoid the medical industrial complex. I want to take that internal computer I have. Okay, the right software is the Foundation Pack. Is there anything else that can be added to, from your standpoint, that can be added to that Foundation Pack to help folks avoid having to utilize the medical industrial complex?
Yes. So generally speaking, at the website, we have different Foundation packs. Right? We have a healthy blood sugar pack. Gee, I wonder what that's good for.
Right.
We have a healthy bone and joint pack.
Right.
Gee, I wonder what that's good for.
Right.
We have a healthy weight loss pack, and so forth and so on. Right.
That can be used in addition. It can be used in addition to the Foundation pack of 90 essential nutrients and minerals. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
And they were cobbled together in order to give a little extra bone and joint support, a little extra central nervous system support, a little extra immune support, whatever. However, now, if it's winter time and I'm outside, I'm going to need to be bundled up, the scarf and a hat and boots and gloves and down jacket, and I'm not going to need that stuff in the summer. But I am going to need that in the winter because of the stress of the winter. So generically speaking, for the last 3 years, because of this and all of the stress around that, we are in an interesting environment, a high-stress environment. We have been for a number of years now. And there's two things that you can add on to the Healthy Foundation Pack in order to help your body to deal with that stress. The products are the hypothalamus support, which is a botanical medicine. It's an alcohol extract of a number of botanical medicines. The name given to it is the hypothalamus support. It gives specific botanical support for your hypothalamus, your pituitary, your thyroid gland, and your adrenals.
Your kind of stress column, if you will.
Yeah, your stress, the systems of the body which are working overtime because of the stress of the world that we live in, what we have lived in for the last 3-4 years. So the hypothalamus support is a really great thing to do for 2 months. I would do, if you're under 300 pounds, I would do 2 bottles a month. If you're under 100 pounds, I would do 1 bottle a month. If you're between 100 and 300 pounds, I would do 2 bottles a month of the hypothalamus support. And the dose on that is 4 milliliters twice a day, 4 mLs twice a day of the hypothalamus support. Do that for 2 months. And the Good Herbs Super Olive Health, best antiviral immune support medicines I've ever seen. And somebody told me that Ronald Reagan took a facsimile of the Super Olive Health every day. So it's a really good way to help your body deal with bacterial and viral stress, which of course has been a big deal over the last little while. The dosage would be the same. If you're under 100 pounds, 1 bottle a month. Between 100 and 200 pounds, or 100 and 300 pounds, 2 bottles a month. If you're over 300 pounds, you need to get on board with the weight loss program. And again, it would be 4 milliliters per bottle per day. Now, the Super Olive Health, I'm completely okay with everybody taking that every day for the rest of their life. Most botanical medicines, the foundation pack we do on a regular basis, because your body needs that stuff every day.
Every day.
The diet does not eat that stuff every day, right? The botanical medicine, though, we get into a little bit of a different territory, because normally the botanical medicines are designed to give short-term support to your lungs or your kidneys or your joints or your circulation or your heart or whatever. And those treatments are intended to kind of jumpstart those organs' abilities to work better.
Which is why you said with the hypothalamus support, use it for a couple months. Then dial it off.
Which is normally what we do with the botanical medicines. And there's, I think, 15 different botanical medicines in the Good Herbs product line. So in a perfect world, you would cycle through those every 2 months. So you got the foundation pack handled, you got the diet handled, and then you do the hypothalamus support for 2 months, and then you do the adrenal support for 2 months, and then you do the kidney and bladder support for 2 months, then you do the circulatory support for 2 months, and et cetera, et cetera. However, if you're a man, do not take the female hormone support. But it's like that, but not with the Olive Health. With the Olive Health, I can make the argument that you would, in fact, benefit from taking that on a regular basis for the rest of your life, the same way that you're taking the foundation pack. So, these are things that you can do, which myself and my colleagues and lots of our patients have seen be very effective. And quite frankly, you're a knucklehead if you don't do it. And it's the only way that you can really start to extract yourself from the medical mousetrap and get out from underneath, that jackbooted heel. Because you can't drug your way to health.
No.
But you can nutrify your way to health. And it's not as difficult as you might think.
And all of these products are available on OperationFreedomHealth.com. Pete mentioned the video, the 12 Bad Foods. That is free. It's on OperationFreedomHealth.com. Upper right-hand corner, hit that. Boom, there's the video. Pete, educate our listeners on your books and your website.
Well, my books and my website, they have more in-depth information, right? So I go into detailed protocols. The doctors told you have an autoimmune disease. Well, here's what they're going to tell you about autoimmune disease. Here's what is the reality of autoimmune disease. And then you can make a decision about which way you want to go. The doctors have told me I have high cholesterol. What do I do? Well, you should look at these data here, not just the data brought to the table by the pharmaceutical industry, and so forth and so on. I have 25 different health topics that I talk about and bring people up to speed with. Stuff they should have been taught in high school,
Right.
but they weren't. And then I go in depth with health recovery protocols for 88 different ailments. It's a really great informational kind of nexus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plus, as a subscriber to my stuff on my website, we do a live question and answer twice a week, 1 hour twice a week, live Q&A. Last time we did it, I had people from Vietnam, people from Barbados, people from Australia, people from Ireland, people from the United Kingdom, and all across the U.S. This is a worldwide phenomenon because finally, I think one of the silver clouds to all of this nonsense of the last 4 years is people are really starting to see through the chinks in the armor of the medical industrial complex.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actively looking for alternatives to that nonsense. And, like the fella said, well, that's my huckleberry, and that's just my game.
And the name of the books are Everybody is Sick and I Know Why, An Attempt to Cure with Holistic Medicine, as we mentioned, available at drglidden.com, also available at amazon.com. Pete, I'd like to thank you for everything you have done, are doing, and will do. I'd like to thank you folks for joining us. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.